You did something, said the wrong thing at dinner, sent a message you can't take back. You got caught in something small. And the feeling that arrives isn't quite regret, and it isn't quite guilt. It's hotter, more total. A wish to disappear, to not be seen, to have the ground take you before anyone looks at your face. That's shame. And the first thing to notice is how unlike guilt it is, though we tend to use the words as if they were the same thing. Guilt is about a thing you did. Shame is about what that thing seems to say about you. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am something bad. That shift from the deed to the whole person is the entire picture, and it changes what repair even means. A deed gives you something concrete to address, you see. Once the problem has become what you are, there's no obvious thing to fix. So watch what shame is actually doing in that moment. A single act, one comment, one mistake, one thing someone saw, gets taken as a revelation. It reads as evidence of what you've been all along, finally exposed, rather than as one act with a boundary around it. The act becomes a window, and what it seems to show through the glass is the real you, the defective one you were always afraid was there. That word, exposed, is the whole thing. Hold on to it, because everything strange about shame, especially what it makes you do, follows from that one idea. I want to offer you a new way of looking at this. I work in a framework I developed that I call psychological architecture. It reads a person across 4 domains: mind, how you interpret what's happening; emotion, what moves in you when you interpret it that way; identity, the sense of who you take yourself to be in that interpretation; and meaning, what the moment finally comes to say. These 4 aren't separate boxes. Pressure in one becomes pressure in the next. Follow where this pressure goes here. Start with identity, because that's where the event becomes global. In shame, the thing you did doesn't stay out there as an event. It gets pulled inward and read as a feature of your personality, a property of you, a fact about what you are, rather than a record of what you did. And it attaches to that part of you that you most need to be stable and sound, your basic acceptability, the sense that you're a person others could look at and not turn away from. And that's where the experience becomes shame, at the question of whether you're fit to be seen. Which is why in shame, mind fills with other people's view of you. The other people in the scene become a gallery. What are they thinking now? What do they see? How far has it spread across their faces? How much do they know? Shame has a peculiar way of putting you outside yourself, looking back through the eyes you imagine are on you. And what those imagined eyes deliver isn't a small verdict on the moment. It's a verdict on the whole of you. You stop seeing the people. You see yourself being seen, and you see yourself in the worst available light. And that read now settles into meaning, and the meaning is severe. The event stops being about one bad moment and becomes proof of a standing defect. This is who I really am. This is what people will now know. The moment gets filed as something revealed rather than something that merely happened. A truth about you that was always there and has finally come to the surface where everyone else can see it. Now that meaning, that meaning drives emotion, which is the heat itself, the flush, the drop of your stomach, the physical need to be gone. And notice what that feeling is aimed at. Where guilt can organize around fixing the deed, shame organizes around ending visibility. The pull is toward being unseen because visibility is where the injury is, which is where hiding so often enters. If the injury is seen as you being defective, then going into hiding offers immediate relief because it addresses the injury directly. So you go quiet. You leave the room, you leave the conversation, You kind of withdraw. You leave the friendship. You cover the part of you that showed and was on display. You perform a version of yourself with the flaw kept out of the frame. Other responses can follow too: appeasement, compensation, a turn to attack. But hiding speaks straight to the wound, which is why it's so often the first move. Now watch the loop close, because this is the trap in it. The hiding feels like relief, and for a moment it is. But when hiding is driven by shame, the hiding itself quietly becomes evidence for the very thing shame claimed. If I have to keep this out of sight, it must really be unshowable. So every act of hiding reads back as a small agreement with the verdict. Yes, this must stay hidden. Yes, it is as bad as I feared. The hiding tells you, in the only language behavior has, that the thing was never safe to show, which means it was exactly the defect shame said it was. And so the shame is confirmed by the very move that was meant to escape it, and it settles in deeper. And the next time, it's a little quicker to arrive. This is why concealment can make shame so durable, so lasting. Underneath the hiding is a prediction that this part of you would make you unacceptable if it were known. And a sealed prediction never has to meet anything that would test it. Nothing gets in that's strong enough to contradict the verdict, so the verdict stands. It stands without ever being shown to be true. It stands because it's never had to face what might revise it. That's how shame can hold on for years, unproven and protected exactly by being kept where nothing can reach it and contradict it. So the shame was never really about the thing you did. The deed was just the window. What it's about is the self it claims to reveal, and whether that self is really what shame says it is. And the hiding, the thing that feels like safety, is what keeps that claim from ever being examined. So here's the question. Most of us have something we keep out of view, and the easy part is knowing what that is. The hard part, the question I want you to sit with is, what is the thing you're most certain would make you unacceptable if it came out, if it were known? And how much of that certainty have you ever actually tested?